From Atlanta, Georgia, welcome to Fearfully and Wonderfully Me, a podcast for women on leadership and life skills with Rhea Story. Rhea shares powerful life and leadership principles, helping you maximize your potential and become the woman God created you to be.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode on energy. I really love to talk about energy because there are so many ways that we can get more energy in our life. And there are so many ways that we can unfortunately lose energy in our life. And, energy is really what gives us the strength to be successful, to be significant in the lives of others. Energy is what gives us the drive to keep going when we maybe don't feel like it all the time. So I love to break this down in thinking of four main sources of where energy comes from in our lives. Now, number one, energy comes from our health. Our physical health is what gives us the strength and the stamina to carry out our purpose in life. And our health is so important, but what's sad is that a lot of times we don't steward our physical health well. And so, it's just so important to think about our health is a stewardship. Taking care of our physical body is a stewardship. Our body is the temple that we live in, so to speak. And yet sometimes we don't take care of that. And, I love to think of this in terms of balance. We can overindulge in so many different things, and that can be toxic for our physical health. And we oftentimes, especially this time of year, we think about overindulging in terms of the holidays and indulging in too much sweet stuff. And that's absolutely a possibility. But we also have to be careful not to overindulge in other things. Exercise can be toxic for us if we have too much of it. So when it comes to energy and our health, there really needs to be a balance and a sense of wellness. And so, it's things like making sure we get enough rest, because that's a huge part of determining our long-term health. And it's also making sure that we eat the right foods that really are nutritious for our body. Mac and I have been doing juicing for about a month. And if you haven't tried juicing, it's been incredible. Now, I've had a pretty nutritious diet for many years. I've been on pretty much a whole food plant-based diet. Not everything. I'm not perfect. I'm not saying that. But the majority of what I eat, just whole food plant-based, love salads and vegetables and roasted vegetables and soups. And so anyway, I've had a pretty nutritious diet for quite a few years. And that's really helped me keep a good balance with my health. But about a month ago, Mac and I started juicing. We bought a juicer and started reading up on juicing and getting a lot of books and recipes and just start trying juicing fruits and vegetables, mostly vegetables, but some fruits. And it's incredible. Within a week, I could tell a difference in how I physically felt, especially when I was exercising. And that kind of surprised me because I thought I was pretty healthy. But what I've learned through juicing is that I could take my nutrition up to a whole different level by juicing fresh fruits and vegetables. And, the two main sources or the two main causes for most of our lifestyle diseases are lack of nutrients, so deficiency in our diet, or toxicity, which is eating the bad stuff, right? And we watched a documentary called Super Juice Me by Jason Vale, and he uses the analogy of our body is like a big fishbowl, and we're the goldfish swimming around. And what happens when we drink, say, a soda, for example, we're pouring that soda into the fishbowl. Now, every single one of us know that if we had a fishbowl on our coffee table and the fish was swimming around in there, but every day we would pour a giant cup of soda in there, it wouldn't be good for the fish. And we kind of intuitively understand that when it comes to a fishbowl. But we don't always stop to think about what we're pouring into our body or what we're putting through our mouth goes into our body. And it's the same as if we were dumping it into a fishbowl. Well, the problem is the fish gets sick when we start dumping all that junk food in there or other things that are toxic. And then we might add some medicines on top of that to try to cover up the symptoms because the fish is sick. And then sometimes the medicines in themselves come with a long list of side effects, and they can be toxic for us too. So anyway, that was kind of a side note. But if you haven't seen the documentary Super Juice Me, highly recommend it, because our health is a stewardship, and juicing has been a great way for us to get healthier. Just really increasing our nutrient uptake, but also, being conscious of decreasing the toxic things. And there again, it is a balance. Certainly not 100%. I love Mac and I love to eat ice cream about once a week. So, there's room for enjoying things in life, and I absolutely believe in that. But I do think it comes down to a balance and moderation. So very important. But when we don't feel good, when we don't have our health, that's a huge drain on our energy. If I'm not taking care of my health, I don't have the energy to carry out the other activities that I want to do. So be conscious of that. Now, number 2, energy comes from our environment. Now, environment is the physical environment that we're living in. It could be our job situation. That's a type of environment. And maybe it's a toxic environment. Maybe it's a job that you don't enjoy, or maybe it's a leader or a boss who doesn't value you, or maybe it's not a great organization or a great culture. And so that environment, you notice that when you go to work and you feel drained at the end of the day, because that's a drain on your energy. Your environment is not giving you energy; it's taking energy away. So, but it also could be our home life environment, or for me, a big part of my environment giving me energy is I'm kind of a little bit of a neat freak. Like, if my environment, my physical environment, especially at home, is messy or cluttered, then I really have to just stop and get everything organized and kind of cleaned up. And I feel so much better when I do. And sometimes it's just the little things, like making sure the bed's made every day, and, kind of spending a few minutes in the morning picking up shoes and tucking things away, and, just taking a few minutes to clean up and declutter the environment makes us feel so much better. I've kind of got this thing that I never like to leave a messy kitchen. Like, anytime we leave the house, whether it's just for the day or whether it's for the week for a big trip, I have to make sure that there's no messy dishes in the sink and take the trash out, because I love to come home to a clean house. It's just such a much more peaceful way to come home, is that the house isn't a mess. And so it really makes it feel like it's a peaceful environment. And that gives me energy. So thinking about the ways, what kind of environment do you like? What kind of environment gives you energy? Your physical environment can be so important in giving you a sense of harmony and, filling you back up. I taught a group fitness class on Sunday. And at the end of the class, I handed out affirmation cards to everyone who was there in the class. And I just encouraged them. I said, take this little affirmation card. It's just a little, 3-inch by 3-inch card with an affirmation on it. And they're all different, just a really pretty card with an affirmation. And I said, just, tuck it somewhere, like by your computer desk, or put it on your bedroom mirror, your bathroom mirror, or carry it with you, because that's a way that we can create a positive environment, an affirmation card or something that brings us joy. Something that's, maybe a good memory or good memento. I have like a couple of shelves in my office that have just things that are precious memories. So up there's a couple of pictures of, just special family times or memories. There's a picture of me riding my horse in the snow from like years ago, but that was a great memory that brought me a lot of joy. So I've got a picture up there. And then there's other things up there, like other memorabilia, a few souvenirs from places we've been. There's a jar of marbles up there. I love my jar of marbles because it reminds me that time is precious. So making the most of it. So, spend some time thinking about the type of environment that makes you feel good, that fulfills you. And then intentionally creating that can give you more energy. Things like the throw pillows on your sofa, if those bring you joy, then be intentional about creating that high energy environment. And then number 3, energy comes from our relationships. And this is a big one. Jim Rohn says we become the average of the 5 people that we choose to spend the most time with. Now, I don't necessarily mean our coworkers, because you pretty much are having to spend time with the people you work with, but the people that you are volunteering to spend your free time with, those 5 people, we become the average of those 5 people. It's kind of our inner circle, or our closest circle, people that we're hanging out with on the weekends, or spending Friday night with, or Sunday afternoon, or playing bunco with, or bingo, or whatever. So, if you had to write down those relationships, are those relationships that are positive influences on you? And it's so important to think about that, because relationships in our life are powerful influence, and they can absolutely give us energy, or they can take it away from us. I love to think about this in terms of the group that some of the group that I run with here, because it's kind of like if you've got somebody else who's going with you, it's a little bit more of a motivating factor to get out and go take care of your health. And so that's a good positive relationship. So be intentional about the relationships in our life. We kind of sometimes we just meet people and we feel like we have kind of a friendship or a connection, but we don't always stop to think about, when we meet someone, do we want to become more like that person? Because they absolutely influence us. The people in our lives, our friends, the people we're choosing to spend time with, because we share values with those people. That's why we're friends, or that's why we form a relationship with that person. So thinking about the relationships in your life, do those relationships give you energy? Are they lifting you up? And, sometimes relationships can be toxic. And so if that's true, then it's time to either renegotiate the relationship, or maybe even possibly terminate it. But don't just go through the motions here, because the relationships really do bring us up or pull us down in so many ways. And so, energy in relationships is, we don't even think about it. We're not even conscious of it sometimes. Have you ever, Mac uses the analogy of, somebody who walks into a room and lights up the room, and you just know that that's a great person, and being around them makes you feel good. And then sometimes we've had people in our lives who, it's like they walk in a room and they blow out all the candles, and that's not a good relationship. It's just that person who is a drain on our energy. And so, it doesn't mean we don't love that person if we choose to spend less time with them. It doesn't mean that they're a bad person. It just means they're not good for us and where we're going. And that's key. When we think about the relationships in our life, do they support the person we want to be? Are we a better person because we're investing time in that relationship? And then number 4, energy comes from passion. I can't say it enough that when we are living in alignment with our purpose and our passion, that gives us so much more energy, because it's fulfilling, it's rewarding. And I can tell you, I've had jobs over the years where I certainly put in, way more than 40 hours a week. And that wasn't a bad thing. But I work far harder and far longer as an entrepreneur because I'm passionate about what I'm doing. And so, Mac and I talk about, one way to describe the fact that we do what we love and love what we do is that we've retired, because technically we've left a job and gone to we've left a career and gone to a calling. So it's one way to think of it as, retirement is when you stop working and you start doing what you love. And that's certainly true. But we also work 7 days a week, and sometimes, 12 plus hours a day, but it's not work if you're enjoying what you're doing. And that's the key thing, because we get energy. It's like the podcast like this, sitting down to do this podcast episode. It's not a chore. It's not work. It's not something you have to do, but it's something that you look forward to doing. And that gives us so much energy when we can find that purpose and we're in alignment. Now, that you're getting closer when doing something like that is rewarding and it's fulfilling. And you know you're getting further away from it when those activities pull you down. So look for those clues in how you're feeling after you're doing that. Now, the thing about passion, there are three things. Passion produces energy because you will work harder and longer when you're passionate about it. Confucius said that if you love what you do, you will never work another day in your life. And passion inspires others. Passion is contagious. It's exciting. It's attractive. When people feel your passion, they get excited. And so it's not settling for less in life. It's seeking out that joy and what brings you joy. What are you passionate about? Nelson Mandela says there's no passion to be found in playing small, in settling for a life that is less than the one you are capable of living. And the third thing about passion is passion unleashes our potential. Because whatever you're passionate about doing, you're far more likely to be successful because you'll be more determined. There are going to be roadblocks in life. There are going to be roadblocks on the road to success, but you have to be determined to navigate around them or through them or over them. And passion helps you do that, because the thing about it is when you're passionate about something, it makes it easier to say no to the other things. And that's important. We have to have focus in the direction where we're going. And every time we say yes to something that's less than or just not great, it might be a good thing. It might be somebody ask you to volunteer at the food bank this holiday season. But if that activity is not in alignment with your vision and you say yes to it, even if it's a good thing, it means it's taking time away from your purpose-driven life. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's making that choice intentionally instead of making it by default. And what it really comes down to is that when we live life by intention, when we live life by design, we find that we have more energy to carry out those purpose-driven activities. And so it's kind of like the chicken and the egg. It's more, the more we do the things that we are in alignment with and following our passion and purpose, we get more energy. And the more we do the right things that give us energy, the easier it will be to come in alignment with our passion and our purpose. So it's almost like you just have to get started and be intentional about growing forward and just taking it one day at a time. I think that's the big thing. So think about those things. As you go into the weekend, it's Friday, we're heading into the weekend, and I know it's, tomorrow is the first day of December, and it's going to be a holiday season. It's bound to bring some stress, but think of those 4 different ways that you have energy, or you have the potential to bring more energy into your life. And think about just little tweaks. Don't commit to changing the world tomorrow, but just think of one thing that you can do this month, one thing that you can do differently this month. And it might be stop doing something. It might be start doing something, but just one thing. Make one little commitment to yourself of one thing you can do to give yourself more energy in this month, in this holiday season coming into December. And, there again, set a small goal. You'll be much more likely to carry through with it. And here's the other thing, write it down. Statistics show that we are 300% more likely to carry through and be successful on our goals when we are specific and they're measurable and we're committed to them. So write them down. Write it down. Just one thing that you can either stop or start doing in the month of December to give you more energy. It might be starting a positive relationship. It might be ending a negative one. It might be unfollowing somebody on Facebook, but just figure out there's one thing that you can do to give yourself more energy. And I guarantee life will be better because of it. Until next time.
Start increasing your influence and maximizing your potential with Ria's audiobooks. Available at audible.com, amazon.com, and iBooks. Please visit riastory.com to learn about Ria's books, resources, speaking, and training programs. Thanks for listening.